witnessing America from abroad depends wholly, I would say, on either your personal experience in the country or that web of information that you're getting, because you wouldn't be able to recognize the country and what's happening in it if you were only to listen to the other side's view, either the criticism of Trump or the praising of Trump. The reality is somewhat much more difficult to reach, and it's much more in the middle. So to some degree, I think that Europe and other parts of the world become prisoners, even more so than Americans, of the limited information that they see, which provides a kind of conventional wisdom that guides political understanding. America is embedded on an idea which has very imperfectly been executed. Our history of slavery and so on are great stains on the national character. Of the freedom of speech, the freedom of the press, the freedom of gathering and so on, and sharing ideas. University communities, Berkeley and others, were based on this. You will not find in America today a more censorious atmosphere than you will on college campuses, in large part because of this woke population which talks about speech in a very different way. What has arisen, particularly in our university communities, are in some cases people who have been educated out of their common sense without a real understanding of the nation's aspirational history. So what emerges then is a kind of continuing criticism of the country. Obama said we need a fundamental reordering of the country, which was a very interesting description, because most politicians have run on the basis of the great hopes that the country would finally fulfill its founding documents, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, so that men and women could live freely, that we could speak freely, that we could gather freely, and that this balance of power between the executive branch and the legislative branch and the judicial branch permitted a zone of activity where we could live up to our God-given abilities, rights, capacities, and so on. I think that's the American dream. And for some, it's not yet realized. But on its best days, America is about those second chances that Franklin Roosevelt talked about. I think the feeling of the Trump administration and many Americans is that has Europe been really appreciative of American actions in World War I, American actions in World War II, and in their aftermath, the security umbrella and apparatus that was created? The feeling of the Trump people, and I think it's pretty widely felt in the country, was that the European Union did not show that level of appreciation, but looked at economic issues, basically, in the countries of which they had a membership. And so we saw things differently. So then the feeling began that we were being taken advantage of in these economic and strategic relationships. So Trump ran, in fact, in part, on addressing these long-held grievances, that there was not this appreciation, one of the love languages, that was being showed by others, but that they were, quote, taking advantage of the United States, and the Biden administration and others was doing nothing to address these imbalances. I think that was kind of how America viewed this issue of tariffs. Even if it made costs more expensive temporarily for Americans, they wanted not only a way to try to balance the books because of these enormous trade deficits we had, but they were looking for some expression of continuing appreciation from Europe and our other allies in Asia that America was providing an important security umbrella for those places. The louder Trump gets, and his negotiators, Bessent, his Treasury Secretary, and others, you'll know that the closer they are to a deal. If you read Trump's book, The Art of the Deal, he really does see politics and the presidency as transactional. He's guided really by that, making deals. And I think he's a deep patriot who really loves the country and what it has provided for his family and so many families, free enterprise and so on. And that he is guided by the notion that America is a great country, and great because it's based on great ideas, and those great ideas are that we are God-breathed creatures. It's in our founding documents. You know, we don't have a language or a common history as much as we have a common document. The Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. This is what the country is based on. And I think many individuals have come to this country, obviously for economic opportunity, obviously because of religious persecution. But somehow embedded in their understanding is that things are better in America because, as Franklin Roosevelt said, America is a place for second chances. And the idea that you could be able to be free to create a life for yourself and for your family is a great dream of many people. And I think America at its best resolves to keep that dream alive. And of course at its worst, it was a nation of slavery and unfairness and so on. I think that's what it would be useful for Europeans to understand about how Americans see the country.